Computer. All right.
This meeting is being recorded by host. Count. Yeah, I consent.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Ring the Gong. Today I have my host, Andrew Chiang. Andrew, you want to take a second to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on this podcast. I got to say, the first time you and I worked together, it was pure fun, totally off script. And I got to tell you, when I first started podcasting, I was all about following the script and everything had to be super structured. And it was just so refreshing to take a step away from that. And I it sounds weird, but I really feel like I became a better podcaster after having that meeting with you. So thank you. Um, as you mentioned, I guess I'm your special guest on your show. So thanks again for having me. My name's Andrew Chiang. I'm one half of the Wandering Buffalo podcast, a show on the Buffalo Fan Base Network, the originators of the Bills Mafia. Yes, the fabled one. So it's very exciting to be a part of that organization. So I'm really happy about that. And you can find me on social media by searching up Two Changs, my co-host by searching up JGods22, or us by searching up the Wandering Buffalo podcast on most social media platforms.
Well, we're glad everyone got to know a little bit about you, Andrew. For today's little guest segment we have with you today, I want to start off with talking about two controversial topics within Bills Mafia. Because right now, if you hop on Twitter, you'll probably find one side attacking the other when it comes to these two topics. And those two topics are the possibility of losing or trading Tremaine Edmunds and Jordan Poyer. Now, Tremaine Edmunds is a topic that I've been thinking of trading for a while, mainly due to the fact I know he has all the potential in the world, but he's entering into a contract year. And either if he plays it out, in my opinion, he'll be too expensive if he balls out this year. And if he just has another year like he's had the last year or two, then for me, I'm not comfortable paying him. And then with Jordan Poyer, we just saw he signed with Drew Rosenhaus. So we know that man's going to go for the big bucks now. He's probably going to want to be the highest paid safety in the league. Because I'm just going off of what Rachel Bush tweets, the she who shall not be named. But with her tweets and how, you'd think that if she's speaking for him as well at some points. It sounds like he wants to get paid a lot more than what we've paid him due to the fact that he's an all-pro player now, all-pro Poe. And I want to get your thoughts first on Edmunds. What would you do? Would you trade him? Would you play out the season and then extend him or let him go based on the results? And then the same for Poyer. What would you do for both cases?
So I'll start with Tremaine Edmunds. And I think you and I kind of talked about this on our live show with Dean King and Justice. And I'll preface my response with the same, with basically recapping what I said on that live show. And that's Bills Mafia. We are so torn on Tremaine Edmunds. You either love him or you hate him. He's not someone, for whatever reason, that plays the middle ground with us. You're not like, meh. It's either you hate him or you love him. I am always a half glass kind of full kind of person. And with that being said, I think you kind of know where I'm going with this. I personally don't want to trade away Tremaine Edmunds. And there's a couple of reasons for that. You could trade Tremaine Edmunds away to go up the draft board. I assume that's the possibility that you could do that for, or you could just trade him for another player or future assets. In any event, you're getting rid of a starter, a two-time Pro Bowler who a lot of people in the league respect and can like point to Tremaine Edmunds and go like, yeah, he's a Pro Bowler for XY reasons. I think you play this season out, right? I can't say for sure. I can't tell you that I'm always like Tremaine Edmunds is first team All Pro. I can't tell you that with 100% confidence. I can't tell you that with a lot of people in the NFL. In fact, I don't think there's anyone in the NFL who I can just say, no matter what, they are first team all pro, because that's just not how the NFL works. It's a year to year league. And the hardest thing in the NFL to do is be consistent. Unless you're the Jets and you just consistently change your GMs and then stuff like that. And then losing comes easy. And us Bills fans can't really laugh at that too much because we know exactly what that's like. Just to go back on it, because I know I'm going on a bit of a rant here. I will tell you, I want to see how this plays out. If Tremaine Edmunds can get to that next level in terms of his play, big playability, or just his hand in this defense, then there's no reason why we shouldn't extend Tremaine Edmunds, except for the cap. And I do not know how the cap works. I understand that Greg Thompson of Cover One Bills always uses the metaphor of it's like a credit card thing. You could always kick the can down the road, but eventually you are going to have to pay that money. I'm just going to, for this conversation, I'm just going to put that painfully truth of a credit card analogy off to the side and just talk about player ability and traits. I like Tremaine Edmunds. He's got the traits. We revamped this defensive line. It should be clean in front of him. You get rid of a guy like him in another prove it year, who knows? Who knows what could happen? There's no guarantee that you bring in a rookie and they do better, or if you bring a veteran and they do better. Because if that was the case of the latter of bringing in a veteran, I trust Brandon Beane would have done something like that by now. And I don't think that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane would willfully hand over the keys to the defense, being the middle linebacker, being the quarterback of the defense, to a rookie who doesn't know the system. So in terms of Tremaine Edmunds, I say you stick him around for this year, see how he plays. And if he earns the money, then he's earned it. If he hasn't, then we can have that conversation about giving up Tremaine Edmunds and what we're going to potentially get back.
Okay. That's probably a little more balanced take than mine.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I prefer that take, to be honest. When I think of Edmunds, it's always, I think I said this before also on Justice's show with Dean and you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not big on paying potential. And I say that, and we have a quarterback who had all the potential in the world and had to develop into what he is today, right? We didn't know that he was going to be that. Just like for Tremaine, he could be all world consistent, and he's still only 23. He could technically still develop, even though he's been in the league for 4 to 5 years now, right? It's
still
crazy.
Young.
23-year-old veteran. That's crazy to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get where you're coming from. And it makes me come down to earth a little on my whole get rid of Tremaine Edmunds take, because that's where I've been leaning towards.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have me back somewhere in the middle.
Hey man, if you want, hey, I'm a guest on your show. If you want to go and lead us into the realm of trading Tremaine Edmunds, that is 100% okay. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about your takes. I'm here to just have a good conversation with a friend.
Well, when it comes to Edmunds, like I said, potential. Now we have someone on the roster who might be aging out of all-pro potential, who just became an all-pro. While I say that, he is aging. He's at the age of 32, just hired a new agent. And it concerns me, the fact of who he signed with. And we're talking about all-pro Jordan Poyer, safety for the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Andrew, I got to ask you here, because I know this one, especially right after we had the Stephon News extension, we're like, yeah, for like an hour. And then all of Bills Mafia sees Jordan Poyer signs with Drew Rosenhaus. I always forget how to say his name. I think I'm saying it right. But they see he signed with his new agent, and everyone loses their shit. Everyone just goes crazy. They're like, including me, because I'm like, oh, he's gone. Or he's going to want, or we want to keep him, but he might cost too much money. So when it comes to a 32-year-old safety who, him and Hyde, listen, in my opinion, best safety tandem in all of the NFL. Best safety.
Hands down. And the most underrated.
Yep. Oh my gosh. When you look at like the PFF rank, like they put those like pictures up with like the different safety duos.
Yeah.
And I know they do it for clicks because they know they get Bills Mafia on Twitter to go off on them and it gets them clicks.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Most underrated. Would you be willing to break that up though? Due to the fact that he's 32, and I know 32 is not old, but if you extend him, you're probably paying him. I talked over this with Thompson on the timeline. You're looking at likely a 3-year, $45 million deal.
15 million. Okay.
Yeah, 15 million a year. You're looking at 3 years, 45, paying him until he's 35, possibly with a void year during his 36-year-old season where you're paying him like 3 to 4 million to lower the cap hit over the rest of the season, the rest of the contract.
Right.
Would you be comfortable giving him a contract until he's 35?
So this is a sticky situation, right? And when it comes to Jordan Poyer, he publicly hasn't come out and said like, hey, I want a new deal. All he's done, I mean, I'm sure in the future he's going to want a new deal, but all he's really done at this moment is sign with Drew Rosenhaus. Did I pronounce his name right? I'm so sorry if I mispronounced.
It sounded better than me.
So
right.
He's just signed with Drew Rosenhaus. That doesn't necessarily mean he wants a deal right now, although his significant other, Rachel Bush, has been she's been on record of saying like, all pro Poyer and retweeting stuff from Greg Tomset saying Greg Tomset put out a tweet saying extend Poyer is an easy choice. And Rachel Bush liked it and retweeted it. But since then, she's kind of gone and deleted those tweets. And this is just Rachel Bush. This isn't Jordan Poyer. She probably wants him to get paid because, I mean, what other significant other doesn't want that for their, coupling relationship and their financial future? I think personally that Jordan Poyer, yeah, he might get extended. We could free up some cap and get some more people in the door right now. Would I do that? Well, let's think about the cost benefit analysis of it. All right, we're gonna pay Jordan Poyer 15 million annual average. That frees up some cap so we can bring in some other people, or we can sign our draft class maybe. It really depends on what we're giving up to give Jordan Poyer an extension, because right now we have him on a pretty good deal, which he agreed to, and he knows he agreed to it. But is he unhappy with it? That's the question. And right now, we don't know if he's unhappy because all we have to work with is Rachel Bush's deleted tweets. I have no idea what that means. And what I personally think is that maybe Jordan Poyer is just being proactive. He knows he's probably got one bite of the apple left. I don't know if Drew Rosenhaus's agent is the same as Von Miller's, but in that video vlog that Von Miller put out where he was like deciding where to go, he specifically says, this is my last bite at the apple. We always want to talk about as fans, and it doesn't matter what team you're a part of, that, I want to bring this person here for all these reasons, but money isn't really looked at as the main reason. Obviously money plays a big role, but remember Chandler Jones, Rochester native. Everyone was like, oh, he's gonna come, and then he goes like, yeah, it's not really gonna be all about the money. It's about the best situation where I can be set up for success. All the signs pointed to Western New York, and then he goes to Las Vegas and for $17.5 million. So it comes down to the dollar signs too. That's a huge, huge, huge reason. And that might sound super obvious, But hey, that's what the NFL is. And when it comes down to it, it's a business. And I think this is if I'm Jordan Poyer, I think this is a great move for personal reasons. If I'm trying to set myself up financially for the future, having the changing of guard between my current agent and Drew Rosenhaus, who has the propensity to get these bigger contracts to help set my family and future families up down the line, it's a no-brainer. This is like my life is bigger. My future life, my wife, my kids, and all that other stuff is bigger than football. And ultimately, that's what these players are giving up to play the game of football. Like, that's what they're doing. They're no different from you and I. They work all day to set up their future. So I think if he does demand a new contract, I think he probably deserves it. Am I wrong to say that?
No, no, you're correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think he definitely deserves it. And we'll see if Brandon Beane can make it work if that is happening. But at this moment, we have no idea if that's what he wants, because all we have, again, is Rachel Bush's deleted tweets.
She who shall not be named, like throwing in that Voldemort.
Not a fan?
No, no. Well, she also blocked me on Twitter.
Really?
I don't remember what I think I liked a post that said something about her that wasn't even negative. I've never been blocked so fast.
I don't think I've been blocked at all. I mean, well, obviously I wouldn't know if I got blocked, but yeah, I can imagine that just blocking someone sends a real strong message.
You know who else blocked me?
Who?
Poyer.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Poyer and Bush both blocked me. And I don't know why.
When did you find out that Poyer blocked you?
Literally, I had no idea until like a week and a half ago when I looked up his Twitter page, and for some reason I was blocked, and I was like, what the? So I'm guessing they share like Bush is like, if I block him, you got to block him too, type of thing. But that was out of the woodworks, out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, that hurts. I only have nice things to say about you, and you're gonna block me. Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Yeah. But let's move on to our next topic, our second topic of this segment. Andrew, I want to hear from you. Obviously, this is before the draft. We don't know what they're doing to address cornerback at CB2. We don't know if they're going to bring in Gilmore or Joe Hayden or someone with this expanded cap space they have with the Diggs contract. And for Greg Thompson's salary coupons, by the way, we can still restructure Trey White's contract. We can restructure Deion Dawkins. We can do something that I wouldn't do yet, restructure Josh Allen's contract.
No, you leave that. You definitely leave that.
You don't do that now. And then, like we just talked about, possibly you extend Poyer. So you have all these ways of freeing up money to bring in another corner, or you just wait till the draft. But without even thinking about that, without thinking of what does our roster still need, I want you to tell me, what are you expecting from this team this season? What are your expectations? What will a better way of phrasing this? On a plateau, where do the Bills need to get to for your season to not be a failure in your eyes? For the season not to be a failure?
I already feel like every time I talk, I swear my answers are just getting longer and longer. So I am so sorry that I'm hogging the mic here. But when it comes to expectations, this is not a idiosyncratic thing with the Buffalo Bills. Every fan base in the NFL has expectations. Nobody just, and those could be good or bad, but they're there. Everyone wants a certain thing from their NFL team. In the instance for the Buffalo Bills, and for me specifically, what I want from the Buffalo Bills is to make a deep playoff push. If they get bounced in the first round, is that going to be disappointing to me? Well, yeah. if we make it to the divisional round, if we make it to the AFC Championship game, if we miss the playoffs, if we make it to the Super Bowl and miss it, is it going to be disappointing to me? Absolutely. But what I want to see and what I truly expect, and I'm using air quotes here for those of you who can't see me, what I expect from this Buffalo Bills team, the 2022 NFL team, is that I expect them to do what they've already shown us. They've shown that they've been on this upward climb, this trajectory towards a Super Bowl caliber team. 2 years ago, AFC Championship game. Last year, divisional round loss, but arguably and everyone likes to talk about this, if the Bills would have made it to the championship game, everyone's talking about how we were going to destroy the Bengals. And I can't say that with confidence because it didn't happen, but I like our chances. I'll say that. Okay? Super Bowl caliber worthy teams. And 3 years ago, when we got bounced by the
The Texans?
Texans,
Yeah.
that was still a really good game. That was a really good game. And that was the sign. That was the first sign where I knew in my head, I was like, okay, this regime is doing something right, because every year, except when we ripped off the band-aids by shredding all those bad contracts up, and like the Marcel Darius one where we got a 7th round pick from Jacksonville. Ever since that year, we have just been making more and more great moves. We've been hitting on draft picks, and these are great problems to have. We're like, guys and folks, I'll say that just to be more inclusive. I'm sorry. Folks, we're talking about expectations about how deep the Buffalo Bills can go in the playoffs and whether or not that will lead us to Super Bowl. I guarantee you line up 10 Bills fans right now. 8 or 9 out of 10 of those teams, if not all 10, will tell you this is a Super Bowl team. You line up those same people up from last year, guarantee they all say the same thing again. You line them up 3 years ago, they go, maybe. Definitely a chance. What's the consistent thing over here? We're talking about postseason football. That's my expectation. I want us to go out there, compete, and just prove that the Buffalo Bills are making the right choices consistently over and over and over again. And they've already done that. So I just want more of the same.
I like that take. I like all your takes you've had today, Andrew. You have some good takes.
Thanks, man.
Because there's always the flashy hurrah of saying Super Bowl or bust. That's the one that people like to throw out there. And as we saw last year, Colin Cowherd made this take, and for once I actually agreed with him. The best team last year was us, in my opinion. Even though we had those losses to Jacksonville and slip on I forgot what yard line it was, but against Tennessee, Josh Allen slips.
Oh, the 1 yard line? Oof.
Yeah.
Brutal.
You take those away, Josh Allen doesn't slip, and you don't screw up against the Jaguars. You're the 1 seed in the AFC, and it's coming through Buffalo. And you saw what they did in the playoffs. It's crazy. We're not even talking in terms of expectations. We don't even talk about the division anymore because the Patriots are the Patriots, and they're about to feel what we felt for 20 years. And the Dolphins, sure, they've built a great roster. And this is a whole nother conversation to have, obviously. And the Jets are the Jets.
But they're trending in the right direction too. Mark my words. Man, they had a sneaky good offseason.
How do I put this? Long term, over the next 5 to 10 years, I would put the Jets over the Dolphins and the Patriots as the biggest threat to the division. But right now it's the Dolphins. But long term, definitely the Jets. But here's
that meme with Paul Rudd and what's it called? Hot Ones, where they're eating the spicy chicken wings, and then they're like cracking open the bottle. Yeah. Like I feel like the Bills and the Jets fans, when that time comes, when the Bills and Jets are battling for the top, and they're just looking at each other. Who would have thought, man? Not I, man. Like, for Jets and Bills fan, winning, learning how to win and how to deal with that, I feel like is so hard and it's
Oh
so
yeah,
comical. I love it.
yeah. I'm. I can tell you for a fact. I was so used to us being the lovable loser when I first became a fan,
Mm,
or the 500 team.
mm.
Once we started making the playoffs, I didn't know how to handle myself.
I was like, is this life?
This is what it's like to win. And it's
I'm
like
about it.
it sounds kind of sad if you're not a Bills fan, but Bills, like if you're listening to this and you're not a Bills fan, I get it. It sounds a little, to be honest, kind of sad. But if
Mm,
you're a member of the mafia like us, it means so much to us. Like having a winning team after going through 17 years of no playoffs and never being bad enough to get a good draft pick. We're always stuck in the middle. Like we weren't getting those number one, number two, number three picks because we were always going 6-10, 7-9, 8-8, 9-7.
mm,
And now, like I said, we're not even worried about the division. We're talking about a team where our expectations are get to the divisional round like you did last year, right? Get that one win in the wild card round, or get the one seed and avoid it entirely,
mm,
and try to make some magic. Go on a run.
mm.
Yeah, that it's the expectations this year, like you said, make the postseason, and once you get there, do whatever needs to be done to get that ring. But at
Right.
least get there again, and show us that you're staying consistent. Be consistent in who you've shown us to be. Because I like that mantra that they put on top of all the door frames.
Playoff
Playoff
caliber,
caliber.
championship
Yeah.
caliber. Yep.
I like those. I like those little mantras they put up. And I could be wrong when I watched Buffalo Embedded. Before they used to have playoff caliber at the start of the McDermott Bean regime. I
Mm-hmm.
believe last season they changed it for the entire year to championship caliber because they weren't just about making the playoffs. They were, we want that ring caliber.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sign me up for that. I remember that. I remember them specifically talking about that. Like somebody was like, "Oh, no playoff." Like that's not the goal. Like the goal is to hold the Lombardi Trophy in downtown Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's a new day for us. It's something that we're still getting used to as Bills fans, but I
Mm-hmm.
like I like getting used to this. I could get used to this on a
Oh
year to
yeah.
year basis for the next
I don't
12 to
ever want to be that fan that's spoiled with winning and then throws their hands up in air when we take losses. I I don't think you should accept, like if I was a player, and I think Sean McDermott said this and I agree with this so much. He said that he was at someone's like pee-wee game and the coach was like, "It's okay. You have to learn to take an L," basically, is more or less what the Pee Wee coach said. And McDermott was pretty much responded with, like, I don't really agree with that. And that doesn't mean you have to be a sore loser, but he's looking for people with the right DNA, with, like, all right, yeah, we lost. It happened, but I don't want that to be like, I need to take this opportunity to become better. That growth mentality. Don't accept the loss as for what it is and just take it and just move on and just do the same thing again. If you're gonna take the L, use it as fuel for the fire and be better of it. Don't accept the loss. Turn the loss into a win.
Okay. Okay. You hear that, Ring the Gong fans? We're having some fire takes here from my man Andrew Chiang. We're having some fire takes. I want to get an actual gong so I can hit
Hey.
it when I have a fire take from
Mm-hmm.
someone. I want to hit that. I want to put it on my desk, and then whenever we have a guest come on and they just preach, hit that gong. That's gonna
Hey.
happen. One day when you come on, there's gonna be a gong on my table, and you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna hear it and be like, "What the fuck was that?" And I'll be like, "I rang the gong for you, boy. I rang the
Hey, I
gong."
that that'd be the first time in my entire life. Oh man. You
Oh,
know, I there's one last thing I want to talk about because I want to get your opinion on it. I bet you didn't
okay.
think I was going to come with a question for you.
Okay. No, I wasn't, but I'm ready. I'm ready.
because I see that you're always on social media and there's always a move or like there's some move that you're advocating for, and I'm always fascinated with that and with everyone. Everyone wants a certain thing. I want to better understand how people think, and I get it. No one am I get where you're coming from. I really do. And I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't really think there's any bad like I mean, yeah, there are bad ideas, but like in terms of like takes and questions, specifically questions, I'm a big advocate of there are no stupid questions unless you're just trying to be, you know, am I allowed to swear on this?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, unless you're just trying to be a jackass. Like if you genuinely have curiosity, like why like just ask the question, and for those of you listening, like, you know, just take the question for face value and just give an opportunity, use it as a teaching moment. But anyways, I'm going off my rant here. What I want to hear from you is that we're looking at all these possible like extensions, trades, and I know you led off the show with like saying, "Hey, I want to potentially trade Tremaine Edmunds or trade away Poyer so we can go up on double dip in the first round." And yeah, so that's a possibility. But what makes these things a possibility is the fact that Brandon Bean has been so good at what he does. None of this would be possible without Brandon Bean able to go out and sign free agents and keep consistently hitting on these draft picks. You don't like Tremaine Edmunds? Fine. That's okay. You're entitled to your own opinion. But you cannot deny that he has the accolades of two-time Pro Bowler by his name. You will address him as two-time Pro Bowler Tremaine Edmunds, especially if you're talking about trading him, because you got to
Oh
hype
yeah.
up the man's value, right? You know, and I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just saying in general.
Oh yeah.
But like, and we have to think about the fact that the reason that we can talk about stuff like this is because Brandon Bean is so good at what he does. Brandon Bean's job, and I'm going to try my best to paraphrase Joe Marino of Locked On Bills here. Joe Marino's job, or excuse me, Brandon Bean's job is to get players that Sean McDermott wants. And that means like DNA, traits, and the hardest part about that is finding a player with both of those things combined, because you could have one or the other, but if you can't have them together, then you're not getting the most from these acquisitions. And so far to date, folks, Brandon Bean has done that consistently, and he's proven that, except for Kelvin Benjamin. That did not work. That did not work out at all. But hey, I just want to say, like, we gotta take this moment to just shout out our guy Brandon Bean, because he's goated.
Big baller Bean. Big baller Bean. Where would we be without him? You're right. Even let's say
Mm-hmm.
you have McDermott, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have Doug Whaley still.
Oh God.
Like, did you see what he just said recently about the Diggs contract the day before Diggs gets?
Oh yeah. Oh, I saw it. Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, it's this team is on the right
I
path.
don't think he was like the worst GM ever, but like we're talking night and day in terms of productivity and results.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's. I'm trying to think of an example. Let's say someone like was that the Bean? That was under Bean, Kelvin Benjamin, right? That was like the
Yeah.
first. Okay, that was not. That's not who I'm thinking of. Okay, McCoy, LaShawn McCoy. That was like the end of Doug Whaley's tenure. As much as I love that move, let's be honest here. I love McCoy. I want to
Mm-hmm.
get his jersey still. You know, 'cause I love McCoy. I loved watching him play. It wasn't a necessary move. It wasn't a franchise altering move. It helped us end the drought because he was on that drought ending team, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a Stephon Diggs level move. That's
Hmm.
not that's not a let's find value in the draft type of move of someone like Gabriel Davis. Bean can make those type of moves to trade for people, but like you said, he also finds value in the draft in later rounds. Something because it's there are busts in the first 1 to 2 rounds, but it's also easier to find that talent in the initial rounds of the draft than it is later on.
Oh yeah.
But then you have people like Gabriel Davis. You sign people like Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. You find diamonds in the rough and you turn them into shiny diamonds. You clean them
Yeah.
off a little. You put some shoe shine on there to clean it off a little, a little something something, and they're shining bright like a diamond. In the words of Rihanna, shine bright like a diamond. And Doug Whaley isn't doing that for you. So that's another reason why we got to appreciate Big Baller Bean. BBB.
Hmm.
Big Baller Bean. Yeah. But Andrew, I do know that you have to head out
Hmm.
and I know you have some things you got to take care of. So I just wanted to say thank you. It was really awesome having you on today's show, and I definitely have to have you on again and
With the
again
gong.
and
With the
again.
gong this time.
Yes. Yeah. I got to get on Amazon and order that. I got to get ahead on that. And folks, let's give it a round of applause for the fire takes of Mr.
Oh, thank
Andrew
you, thank you.
Chang. And you can find him, like he said, at Two Changs on Twitter, or you could give a listen to the great podcast. And if you're not listening to it already, what are you doing? The Wandering Buffalo podcast. And I just want to say again, thank you. I appreciate you coming on to talk all things Buffalo Bills. And it's always a pleasure having you here.
Hey, thanks for having me. And if you're listening to this, thanks for taking your time and listening to me rant because nobody would normally do that. So thanks.
All right. And we are closing out today's episode. Don't forget to ring the gong, everyone. Ring the gong and have a great day. Catch you
Later.
later.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.